Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a really incredible lesson plan today titled Journey to Spiritual Maturity. The whole core theme of this curriculum explores how we actually grow together in faith, love, and service, and it really dives into how structured spiritual curricula are designed to foster that exact kind of community.
Now, to really grasp this curriculum, we have to look at the theological stakes it establishes right out of the gate. The source document anchors itself securely in the Great Commission from the book of Matthew. It says, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations." The lesson presents this not just as some casual suggestion, but as the absolute foundational mandate for literally everything that follows. Okay, let's map out our journey for today. We'll be covering 1. The Great Commission mandate. 2. Defining true discipleship. 3. Why discipleship matters. 4. Fostering connection and growth. And finally, 5. Your next spiritual steps.
Section 1. The Great Commission Mandate.
So this mandate isn't just some heavy, impossible command. It's beautifully paired with a reassuring promise. In Matthew 28, it says, "And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." The lesson really emphasizes this to show that this spiritual journey is backed by Christ's presence. It's meant to empower the learner from the very first minute.
Section 2. Defining true discipleship.
So how does the source actually define that term? Well, it states that a disciple is a learner and follower of Jesus, becoming more like him in character and action. Do you catch the duality there? It's not just about what you're learning internally, it's equally about your external actions and visible character development.
And this dual focus brilliantly illustrates the specific model of Jesus outlined in the text. It breaks down into 3 really actionable steps: follow, learn, and go. Basically, Jesus invited people to follow him, learn from his teachings, and then, this is the crucial part, go out and make more disciples. It's this continuous, active loop.
Now, to make this model actually work in a real-world, modern setting, the curriculum lists 4 absolute must-haves: teaching, modeling, accountability, and relationship. The document stresses that true spiritual growth requires way more than just sitting and listening to a lecture. It requires seeing the behavior modeled in real time, being held accountable by your peers, and building genuine, deeply rooted relationships.
Section 3. Why discipleship matters.
Okay, the curriculum breaks down the why here into 3 very logical pillars. First up, obedience to the mandate, meaning treating it as a direct command. Second is spiritual growth, which is all about deepening your individual faith. And third, multiplication of the gospel, which is really the strategic mechanism for spreading the message outward.
To really drive home that second pillar of spiritual growth, the lesson draws directly on Paul's letter to the Ephesians. Until we all reach unity in the faith and become mature and attain to the full stature of Christ. The curriculum uses this exact verse to explain that discipleship is basically the engine driving a person toward true spiritual maturity.
And that builds perfectly into the concept of multiplication. The source uses Paul's instructions to Timothy here: "What you have heard from me, entrust to faithful men who will be qualified to teach others also." It's a multi-generational strategy, right? You learn it, you teach someone else, and you ensure they are equipped to teach the next person. The idea spreads like wildfire.
Section 4. Fostering connection and growth. Let's shift from theory to practice for a second. Looking at the actual lesson plan document, we can see exactly how a gathering is structured. Notice that 15-minute icebreaker activity right in the middle? It's called My Journey of Faith in a Prayer. The curriculum uses this to encourage authentic, vulnerable connection right off the bat by having participants share their personal journeys out loud.
Immediately following the teaching segment, the lesson plan moves into a group discussion, and it opens the floor with the big one. What does it mean to be a disciple of Jesus? In a real classroom environment, this prompt is designed to make the group articulate their own understanding before diving any deeper into the material.
The next prompt gets highly personal. It asks, share a key moment in your faith journey. The source notes that small groups use this specific activity to build connection through sharing life's challenges, victories, and those big defining moments. The curriculum specifically instructs leaders to foster a really safe, supportive environment to allow for this essential level of authenticity.
Then, the curriculum poses this rather provocative question. Has anyone ever discipled you, coaching you to be a disciple? I mean, think about that for a second. Have you ever had a spiritual coach? It's a powerful prompt that makes the participant reflect on their own personal history with mentorship, helping them recognize the immense value of having a guide in their own lives.
Section 5. Your next spiritual steps. Now,
Looking at the final portion of the source document, you'll notice the structured time dedicated entirely to reflection and prayer. It outlines a 15-minute segment for the group to reflect on the stories that were just shared and to explicitly pray for guidance. It's a super practical way to transition from a conceptual discussion directly into actionable tasks.
As a tangible takeaway, the lesson assigns a memory verse, John 8:31. If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. The source uses this specific scripture to reinforce the absolute necessity of holding fast to Jesus' teachings. Honestly, it acts as the ultimate anchor for everything the participants just learned over the course of the session.
The curriculum then hits you with a final reflection task. It asks the individual, how can I be more intentional in my discipleship journey? This directly challenges the participant to take real ownership of their own spiritual maturity, rather than just, passively consuming the information presented in the class.
Finally, the lesson assigns a two-part challenge to its students. Who can I disciple, and who can disciple me? It perfectly encapsulates the source's entire message of continuous growth and relational multiplication. It challenges the learner, and actually all of us, to look at our own lives and ask who we're guiding and who is guiding us. Something to really think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.